Carla and I work for the St. Johns County Public Library System. Today we're going to be making a keychain for either Mother's Day or Father's Day. It depends on who you want to make it for, and as you can see, this one I've got pink and natural color and blue. So if you wanted to, for Father's Day, you just choose your father's favorite colors. If you're making it for Mother's Day, you can make it your mother's favorite colors. So if you got a kit from the library, what you would have is our little keychain. Well, this is the key ring, and it has a little lanyard holder on it. And then you would have 3 wooden beads and a piece of leather lace. So if you were trying to buy things for at home, these are 1-inch beads. And you do want to make sure that it's the smaller holes. There's some of these that have great big holes. These are a 1/8 inch hole. And because if you got really big holes when you went to tie your knot, your knot would slip off unless you made a really, really big knot. So, and again, this is 3 millimeters of leather lace, and it's about 18 inches long. It's actually probably a little bit longer than it needs to be, but better, you can always cut things off. But if it's not long enough, you can't do anything about that. And what the other things that you will need that are not in the kit is you will need some acrylic paint and a couple of paint brushes. Now, if the way that I'm doing it, the colors are kind of muted. If you wanted to use your paint full strength and just paint your beads, you could. The paint brushes are so that whenever I am using the paint brushes to hold the beads while they dry. And I actually did these last Friday, but I wanted to show you that's what we're doing with the paint brushes. And I will use those for my example. So you'll need 2 to 3 colors of acrylic paint and the paint brushes. And one of the things that I found out whenever I was making this and diluting the paint is that it's better to add the water first, because if you put too much water, you can pour it back out, but you can't, once the paint's mixed, you can't get too much of the water. You can't stick it apart. So put your water in your cup or your little bowl or something first, because if you get too much, you can always pour it back. And since I don't have a sink here, I've got too much. I just need just a tiny dab, because all that I'm doing is it's 1 part water. I'm having a lot of trouble with my water here. 1 part water to 2 parts paint. So but it only takes a little dab of paint. I'm going to go ahead and do my blue in here. And it doesn't take much at all. So just maybe half of a teaspoon. And once I do that, I'm just swirling it around to mix it up. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm just swirling it around. I'm not even having to get anything else dirty. And I kind of like that. So once I do that, I'm just going to take my bead and I'm going to roll it around in my paint. Oh, that looks nice. Okay, I like that color. Then I'm going to take one of these extra paint brushes that I had, and I'm going to stick the paintbrush handle through the hole and just kind of knock it a little bit there to get the excess paint off. Okay, looks like I got an air bubble there. I'm just going to pop the air bubble on the side of the cup. Okay. And then, let's see, I have an empty cup here, and I'm just going to put it in my cup to dry. I'm actually going to put that over here so that if it drips, it won't get on my tablecloth. So that is what you would do. Now, I learned the hard way that you don't want to put your leather through this hole until it's thoroughly dry, because if there's any paint that's not dry on the inside, and there is paint inside of there because I've swirled it around in that water, so you probably want to let it dry for at least 24 hours. And if you wanted to, you could let it sit If you wanted it a little bit darker, you could let this dry for a little bit and then paint it again. You know, roll it around in the paint again to make it a little bit darker. And so that's how that would work. And I don't think I'll do the pink today because I think you kind of get the idea. Oh, I do have paint on my hand here. So let me dry that off. And we'll go ahead and do the step with the leather with the ones that I have that are already dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my leather lace in half. I'm going to pick up my key ring here like this, and I'm going to try to hold those ends together pretty closely and thread that on there, and now I've got a loop. Okay, so up and put that through the loop. I'll do that again. So I've got the ends in one hand and the loop in the other. I'm going to stick the ends through the loop and pull it around, and that's going to put a knot on the key ring. And then I'm going to thread up. Okay. That was a little bit harder than it should have been. If you do have that trouble, what you need to do is just go ahead and push something through, and I'm just going to go ahead and use this other bead. And this is just to show you how it was done, how to do it. And bring this up, and now that I've got 3 beads on there, and those 2 aren't painted, we would go ahead and push them down and as close as you can up to the ring. Make a loop. Let's see if I can show you. So here we've got a loop, and bring that up and make a knot and push as you're tying the knot, push it up towards the beads. And this is how that would work. And then you can cut the lace even. Mine's not quite even there, but I can cut off the ends, and that's how you would finish it off. So thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you again next month.